Good morning, everybody. $1,400 or $2,000 fourth stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks, are heating up. Those reoccurring monthly fourth stimulus checks are on the battleground right now. And in a press briefing underway right now, the press secretary is being asked questions about what else is going on in the fourth stimulus package. Let's cut into the live broadcast happening right now, and I'll be answering your questions on air as well.
Consent so that troops would be mandatorily vaccinated. Is that something the president is would consider?
I certainly think he would refer to the advice and view of the Secretary of Defense, so I'd point you to them for any point of view on that letter.
I think, okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead on.
Thank you. CBP data said this week that the number of unoccupied migrant children crossing the border, unaccompanied migrant children, sorry, had increased 100% from February to March. If these numbers continue to rise, is there a point that the administration would consider reversing or modifying the policy of
You're watching a live feed from the White House about your fourth stimulus package. Let me tell you what's going on. The heat is underway for those monthly reoccurring stimulus checks, $1,400. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits, this is you. If you make less than $75,000 a year, this is you. Family, household of four, this is you. Monthly checks from about the summer to the fall to the December. Monthly checks, the single biggest payout you ever seen on this channel. The president has been talking about it all week long. The press secretary just rolled out one of the transportation members. And right now she's answering some questions. Let's listen in more about them.
Most effective from a policy standpoint at this point.
And then just one more question on Amazon. The president supports the PRO Act, but how does he expect it to get through Congress, particularly if infrastructure is not done under reconciliation?
How does he expect to get the PRO Act passed through Congress? It is something that he certainly strongly supports, and it's consistent with his advocacy for the ability and rights of workers to organize. I don't have anything on the legislative strategy and what that will look like moving forward. I'd certainly point you to the Hill on that.
Thank you.
Go ahead in the back.
Thanks, Jen. I want to ask you about the case of a 10-year-old Nicaraguan boy who was, videos went viral when he was seen walking the desert by himself, saying that he had been dumped by the group that he was with. Through our reporting...
Let me cut into the broadcast right now. Minutes ago, a major report came out, and that major report talked about the implication of this morning's economic data. You're going to hear it on Noontime LA today. At Noontime LA, I'm going to go over why this new economic data is very important. There's a major series of new reports out this Friday that suggest this economy could be booming right now. This is everything when we're talking about fourth stimulus, because remember what I talked about. You want this bill in the Senate before the economy booms. Well, is the economy booming now? A series of new reports right now suggest that this economy may be on the rebound sooner than anyone has seen. These are the issues at hand when we always talk about getting the fourth stimulus out the door. If the economy rebounds too quickly, people may not want to give you stimulus. Also, if jobs are restored, people will not want to give you stimulus. The series of new reports, which you're going to hear on Noontime LA, coming up later here today on this channel, suggests that Wall Street analysts now believe that the job growth in this economy at the moment is on fire. That they're having to raise wages because they cannot get enough employees to work. Number one, that there's more jobs and not enough people to work. Number two, and that the CPI is about to come out next week, and it may be through the roof. Earlier today on this channel, you saw me deliver a breaking new report, which was the PPI number. This is the one that everyone is talking about today. This number showed its highest growth in nearly 9.5 years this morning. These enormous surges for stimulus, these enormous surges of the economy may bode poorly for stimulus if they don't get them out the door. The day all started with this number, but no one is really talking about this number. It showed that small business closures in the month of February were very poor, the worst since May of last year. In the month of February 2021, 22% of small and mid-sized businesses closed, and that is the highest we've seen since May of last year. But no one's talking about that number. They're talking about this number, the Consumer Price Index. Remember, you and I, the way we do this channel is very simple. We try to inform ourselves, educate ourselves, learn about what's going on around the board. We don't just say stimulus, stimulus. No. No one's going to give you stimulus if the economy is booming. No one's going to give you stimulus if jobs are restored. No one's going to give stimulus if things are back on path. That hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. But if you look at the new data today for the PPI, the job numbers for last Friday, and the reports, which you're going to hear on Noontime LA, insiders believe that the next 3 months could absolutely be bonanzas, gangbusters for this economy. You want this package into the Senate as soon as possible. You want this stimulus package into the Senate as soon as possible. We'll be going over the numbers of the 4th stimulus package in just a second, but let's listen in to more of a live press conference going on underway. Breaking news right now.
Allies in the region and also across Europe. So that's how we're approaching it. In terms of assessments of their changes in behavior, I would leave that to all of you to assess.
But how do you characterize the response from the Chinese in the first 100 days?
I don't have a new assessment from here. We are approaching this from a position of patience. We're not in a hurry. We are working to strengthen our conditions at home, better support our workforce, ensure that we are approaching the relationship from a position of strength.
In your week ahead, you said Prime Minister of Japan will be coming here next Friday.
Yep.
This is the first foreign leader visiting the White House in the background. Can you give us a sense of what's the kind of preparation you are having? Is there going to be a joint statement or a joint press conference with the foreign leader?
I expect they'll have statements, and we'll take some questions as well while they're here.
Okay, there's one more on Russia, follow up on Russia. The Bloomberg has said that the review is over and the administration is discussing potential retaliatory measures at this stage. Can you confirm that? Is the review?
A great question from Anne Marie. She asks, once the third stimulus checks of $1,400 are spent, will the economy go back down? No. These economic numbers that are coming today are economic numbers from a month ago, before people had the stimulus checks. That's a great question. So no, this is talking about job growth, spending, savings before the stimulus checks ever landed. Great question, though, Anne Marie.
Line number for all those credits, how it affects the overall climate impact of the plan, and what role those might play in selling the plan to some Democrats on the left who have suggested they think the plan doesn't go far enough on climate.
Sure. Well, I will say that the plan, we feel, reflects on the president's view that there is a profound urgency and existential threat that we are facing from our climate crisis. That the climate crisis is presenting an existential threat, I guess, is the more grammatically correct way to say it. And we believe that he wants to take every opportunity we can to help address that. So the American Jobs Plan will position the United States to meet President Biden's goals of creating a carbon neutral power sector by 2035 and a clean energy sector by 2050. It will do that by building modern, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure, ensuring clean, safe drinking water is a right and available to all communities, revolutionizing electric vehicle manufacturing, mobilizing the next generation of conservation and resilience workers. This will not be the totality of what we do to address the climate crisis in the Biden-Harris administration, but it is certainly an important step and one that we've had positive response from a number of members.
Specifically on the clean energy tax credits, do you have any other, again, top line numbers, or do you have any idea of when those may be forthcoming?
And just so I understand the top line numbers in terms of the impact of the tax credits?
Some of the credits you guys want to extend, et cetera, but does the White House have actual dollar figures for how many billions of dollars that represents, et cetera?
We did put out a 25-page fact sheet. If it's not in there, we will certainly get you more specifics, and we hope to have state-by-state details early next week.
Thanks, Jim.
Oh. What? Oh, he's a new member of our, I'm just kidding. What we're going to start doing is we are going to start taking a question from a regional reporter who does not live in Washington, can't be here. Many of you started your careers that way. So thank you for reminding me because I was going to walk off. Hello, it's very nice to meet you. Thanks for, and you are from Anchorage, Alaska. Come to us from
Yes, I'm here at the state capitol in Juneau today, though.
Great. Thanks for joining us. So this is the White House press corps. They won't ask you questions, but how can we help you? What questions do you have for us today?
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
I'm going to cut away because the audio is very bad, apparently, in Alaska. No offense to Alaska, but, you know, they're trying to do a remote feed in from Alaska, and it sounds like some walruses are about to eat the microphone. How are you? It's morning's LALATE. You read three. Congratulations. $1,400 or $2,000 or $1,000. What are the amounts of the fourth stimulus package? Doesn't really make a difference so long as they get the bill out the door. What's the big issue for you is not who gets it because you're getting it, not how long because it's going to go to December. The question is how soon. How soon? Every month that passes for stimulus, it costs you a stimulus check. Let's go over the data. The fourth stimulus package is the big push underway. You're not going to hear the president ever say stimulus checks. You're never ever going to hear Nancy Pelosi say stimulus checks. You will hear Democratic House members talk about stimulus checks. But ultimately, the time and place to put the stimulus checks in there is when the bill lands in the Senate. Now, if you watched Morning's LA right before this, I explained it's a two-step process. So it's not like the bills start. You've heard me talk about a lot of bills on this channel over time where something could go to the House in one day and to the Senate 3 days later. Not for this one. No. Reconciliation is a 2-month process. So if we started the process today, which we're not, then it would take 2 months to get the bill to the Senate and to make it to law. That is why you need to be ahead of the economic curve. What is the economic curve? One of the viewers in the comment right before said she's in Washington and her state is starting to close down again because of surge of COVID cases. Okay, that is one direction. We've had these competing economic directions over the last 3 days. That direction, which we just heard, California, opening completely in June, the other direction. You heard me talk about yesterday, Governor DeSantis in Florida trying to reopen the cruise industry and suing the CDC. Last month, 250,000 jobs were created in the country because of reopening travel and leisure. Imagine how many industry jobs in the cruise industry would reopen if Florida got those cruise protocols to dock in Florida right away. That would be hundreds of thousands of jobs just in Florida alone. So these numbers are pushing left and right. But the big ones are the economic numbers. There's a lot of confusion about that big PPI number that came out earlier today. Without giving away too much of what I'm going to do on Noontime LA, what I'm going to explain to you is the following. This PPI number was so strong for the economy, so good, blew the number out of the ground, blew the number out of the water. It was so strong. And a week ago, the jobs number was so strong that Wall Street's a little bit confused this morning. What they're confused about is that word that starts with I. What I word do you think it is? If you're in the live chat, let's interact a little bit. What do you think Wall Street thought? What big word of I is really sitting around? Because this is what Wall Street's confused. They didn't mention the I word today. They didn't mention the 10-year Treasury note, which is relatively flat. So they're a little perplexed about what may happen next week. And there's Lisa in the room, and there's Harold, and there is, thank you for the comments, Lisa, I really appreciate it. And there's Phaedre, who had a wonderful comment about the closures in some states. Yes, the word is inflation. They're very confused about this inflationary words. Remember just about 2 weeks ago, you could cough, and then suddenly inflationary words would kick in, and the 10-year Treasury note would go through the sky, and I'd say, oh my God, this is very confusing for stimulus. Today, great economic news, 10-year Treasury note, calm. So are they happy with this level of growth? That's what some analysts say. But here's what you need to know. Inflation is not the determining factor for you and your stimulus. Inflation will not determine whether or not you get stimulus. Only one thing. Jobs and unemployment. Jobs and unemployment. Where are the jobs and unemployment numbers when they get the bill to a vote? Not when they start the bill, but when they get the bill to a vote. And that's where we are as we start the midday. The CPI number is among those ancillary numbers. What's important to understand is that what I detail on this channel is I show you a lot of other economic numbers that impact jobs, that impact employment, that necessarily are not employment numbers, are necessarily not economic, not necessarily job numbers, but are released by the Department of Labor, which labor's work. It's work to work at the Department of Labor. They labor at the Department of Labor. And this was what the Labor Department's numbers were. This is the number that came out this morning. Breaking news early this morning. The March PPI number, which you probably have never heard of before if you're new to this channel, Producer Price Index, went through the roof. It was incredible, high, great news. The highest number in 9.5 years. And that's why it's important to understand that when we look at this push for stimulus to get out the door, we can talk about eligibility as much as we want. 75,000 or less, household of 4, SSI and SSDI, you'd all get a stimulus check. We can go over all this numbers like the amount of the stimulus checks. Harold Rose talking about lumber is up. Absolutely. Lumber's absolutely through the roof. That's also another indicator. A lot of prices are going through the roof. We could look at these numbers, but ultimately, all this could really struggle if the bill does not get to the Senate soon enough. Because ultimately, the big issue is these numbers. This is what you saw yesterday. Continuing unemployment numbers, 3.73 million. That's a lot of people. It's relatively flat. This works in favor of stimulus. This number yesterday, 744,000 new jobless claims last week. This also works in favor of stimulus. This is why the push needs to happen now rather than later. And away we go. Some of the questions I've gotten about forced stimulus have been the following. Is it taxable? No, it's not taxable. When would it start? Well, Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi want the vote in July. I'm fine with July. It's on the edge of where I'm getting a little concerned. I'd rather get it a month earlier, June. And remember, these people are often giving you dates and then they don't hold the date. So I don't want this to go to August. One, because it's getting very late. Second, August is when they go on recess. You remember August last year? Yeah. Remember that famous August with the airlines with their deadline? Yeah, August is just ticking time bomb. You don't want it anywhere near August. That was one of the other questions viewers asked me. How soon? Then I got the questions, is that a checkup, is that amount you're showing on screen per person? It is per person. They want to give you monthly checks through December. The only thing they've not given us is the amount of the check. They have said the reoccurrence of the check. And then we have the Manchin factor, which I didn't cover earlier this morning, so let me cover it right now. One of the viewers in the chat before had a great comment, said Manchin is just a lot of bark but not a lot of bite. I agree 100% so far. So far, what he wants to do is push the compass a little bit, but he doesn't want to kick the compass into the swimming pool. He doesn't want to get rid of the compass. So earlier this week, he had one comment. I don't like the tax rate at the proposal. I want 3% less. Okay, fine. 3% less. Big deal. Done. It's a no-brainer. Yesterday, he said, I don't like this reconciliation process. We shouldn't have to keep on doing things by reconciliation process. Yeah, but he also says in the same breath, but I'll do it. So like, I don't like doing it, but okay, I'll do it. Well, here's what you need to know, is that Democrats do support clean air. Democrats do support climate. Democrats do support a little bit of raising taxes, which he does. And ultimately, if the Republicans won't give that, you have to do by reconciliation. There is no other route. And away we go. So I don't want you to fret too much about the Manchin factor at the moment. As viewers and I tried to deduce yesterday, why is he doing this? It's really unclear. It's really unclear why he's doing it, but he's getting a little bit of publicity about it. Meantime, if you've not gotten that third stimulus check by mail, don't worry, it's coming in the mail. There's really nothing for me to say about mail checks. They're in the mail. I'm not your mail delivery guy. I can't track your mail checks. They're coming every day. And so it's sort of like beating a dead horse at this point. The mail check delivery dates, I have a graphic for you right here on the different dates. Here is the mail check dates. Some people, your check dates were March 26th. They're actually still arriving in the mail. The April 2nd to 5th checks, you're not even late. I would add about 10 days to that. Then your April 7th, actually 9th checks. Today is the 9th. So 50% of the viewers of this channel who did not get third stimulus checks, they have a date of today. That doesn't mean you get them today. It means add 10 days. So you have to just be patient. Wait. Wait for direct deposits. We'll see later today and next, or maybe on the weekend tomorrow, if there is another round of direct deposits next week. I've not heard yet. Meantime, wait for those mail checks and then request guidance. IRS will give you guidance in the next few days as to how to request a third stimulus check. If you're one of those people who didn't get a first or second stimulus check, and are not getting a third stimulus check, this is sort of a repeated trend with Treasury and you. You should have fixed the first and second a long time ago, and this will just continue to compound. So presume that you're going to be behind on the 8 ball. You're going to be later than other people because they didn't get the first one to you, they didn't get the second one to you, so you are not in line to get the third. But it is something that is going to get fixed. Don't worry, don't fret, it's going to get fixed. It's just not going to get fixed right now. What's important to know is about the other money that's available for you. Third stimulus money is now arriving. It's arriving. So I want you to get that money for third stimulus now. Rent, utilities, and food is available at your city, county, and state. Then mortgage assistance, property owner assistance, utilities, and similar are available at your city, county, and state. Food, reach out to Department of Agriculture to get SNAP. Third, if you're a college student, get that $1,700 of financial aid available at your college institution. The EIDL grant, loan, shuttered venue are all about to go live. People are always sending me DMs at night saying, Elliot, did you mention that? Yeah, I do. I mention almost every video, but I mean, they're 30-minute videos, so there's a lot covered in a 30-minute video. The EIDL grant about to go live. The shuttered venue grant now in preview. Sign up to get the application sent to you. It's not just for venues. The PPP grant extended by executive order a week ago today. And also the restaurant grant. Next up is fourth stimulus heating up in June. So you see this sort of lapse of time for moolah between May and July. You want to get as much money as you can now on the come because you don't want to be behind on the 8 ball. Ramsey says, yes, property taxes are up. You need to get this money right now. Reach out to the volunteers if you're having problems with any of this money. Chef Roberto's in the room. He got his $1,400 stimulus check. Congratulations to him. Really great news. Let's see. Nancy's chasing the postman, says Aaron. I hope not. I don't know what happened to Nancy and her postman, but you know. As you go into a noontime recording, this is what you need to know. Your press secretary loves to wear green. She wears green like every 3 days. I don't know why. The president has debuted every cabinet member to members of the press this week to talk about your fourth stimulus. I think he's running out of cabinet members. Every day has been a different cabinet member on this channel. So there we go. Crush the cabinet members. Next, stimulus checks are not taxable. I keep on getting that question. It would it be illogical to send you a stimulus check and then just tax the check they just sent you? No, I mean, why would they send you free money and then tax it to get it back? It doesn't make sense. It's not taxable. To the people who got extra stimulus checks, and there's a lot of them. I don't know what's going on. That's like the Twilight Zone wear out there. I don't know what to do about that. Thank you for your DMs. I have no idea. Reach out to Treasury. People are getting 2 or 3 stimulus checks per person for just one person. I don't know what's going on. There's a little box at the front of Treasury. You can put a little note in there. Hi, I have a question. I don't know what that's going on. And away we go. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also like this video. And I'm going to see you next on Noontime LA. Get ready for the excitement. Get ready for the fun. Thank you for joining me for a live feed from the White House with the press secretary. It covered actually 2 videos today. But coming up later on this channel, I'll be covering those big breaking videos throughout the week. Meantime, stay with me for continuing coverage of the Masters, which started today. I'll check in just a second, with Justin Rose starting the day, at least 7 under with a 4-stroke lead over 5 golfers. Live coverage from Augusta. Stay informed, stay focused. The toast was toasted, the coffee was brewing. I was here, you was here, but the bacon was missing. Stay with LA for more. And thank you, Timothy, for the